our project, which is the Grande community newspaper, came about with, again, many great ideas are brainstormed around a table and through discussion. But prior to the pandemic, again, wearing my other hat as the Healthy Communities Initiative, it was identified with a community assessment that we need to do a better job of connecting our community. We need to do a better job of promoting that sense of connection, sense of being, sense of well-being, sense of belonging that Sonia had mentioned earlier. And the number one thing that people talked about all the time was they are missing our local newspaper, which had closed down about 4 years prior to our project, and then how they really missed that physical connection of the paper and brought, information about different events and activities and storytelling. So since I knew Sonia and knew her positive work ethic was very quickly about building a team and utilizing our own internal assets and how can we move this forward? And no sooner did I plant the seed into Sonia, she took it and ran with it. So I knew she was the right person, and we created this small but mighty team with Grande Cache Rural Mental Health with our community newspaper to really fill that opportunity and to move forward with that trend.
For me, it was very personal. I think a lot of this rural mental health project and being an animator from start to finish has been personal for me in regards to many things. So of course, my connection to mental health and my own mental well-being and how important that is to me to be an advocate for that, and also to support others who need that awareness. But the newspaper, so I actually worked at our local newspaper before it closed. I had just come off maternity leave, and the lady at the time who owned it took a chance on me. I had zero experience. I had nothing to offer the job whatsoever. And she took me on, and I fell in love with the world of newspaper, from journalism to creating ads and taking photos. So from that, I started my own photography business. And from that, I started my own graphics designs business. And when I moved to Edson, I worked at the local newspaper there. So I had experience when it came to this. So the moment that Yvonne said the newspaper and how that came out of that assessment that they were talking about in those connections, like my brain just, I was like, this is it. This is it. I know what to do. I'm going to make this happen. And we laid out our first paper, and there was 1,000,001 different ideas that we had. But what really was the driving force behind the paper in the last 2 years with the rural mental health funding was our people, businesses, and organizations. So it was one thing to connect people with what was going on in our town with events and things like that, like classic newspaper stuff. But we were also showcasing what our town had. So people always say, you don't know until you know. Well, the one thing about Grande Cache is that we have so much to offer, but people don't know that. So we used this project as a tool to connect those people, to say like, hey, did you know your neighbor who lives down the street from you, hiked Mount Everest, and this is why they did it. Or this organization offers these types of supports. I fell in love with that side of things. So not only did I get to express my artistic and creative ways through journalism and photography and graphic design all in one big, beautiful mess, I was connecting to my hometown and learning things about people and businesses that we just didn't know. We had no idea. It was amazing. It was so wonderful to do that. People I've known my whole life, I had no idea. They all have an incredible story, and they were all willing to share, which was even better. I think the community support that we had with this project was, you couldn't hold a candle to it. People were just open to share about themselves and what made them special. And I think that was a huge connection to the mental well-being and the awareness and that kind of thing. So it was very personal to me. I fell in love with this on a very personal level.